So at the start of the Diamond Challenge Sculls, we have on the Berkshire Station from Strathclyde Park Rowing Club. It's Cameron Buchan. Hope I pronounced that right.
I think we call it Buchan up in Scotland.
Okay, sorry.
Go.
I'm glad you're here to help me with that one. Thank you. And on the Buckinghamshire Station, the Towys Sculler School, we have George Bourne. So both athletes, obviously on their own in this particular event or boat class, very lonely.
Can certainly be very lonely, and even though they've got company off the start, they'll want to separate that, I'm pretty sure. But George Bourne, we've seen it, the under-23 world champion. He was a world champion in the men's quad in 2019. So, as you said, he's gone from being 4 of them in a boat to just solo in a boat, and seeing how he's enjoying taking down the Henley course on his own this year.
And Cameron from the Strathclyde Park Rowing Club was also the winner of the Championship Sculls at the Metropolitan Regatta. So, you know, which is quite a prestigious event to win at the Met Regatta.
It is, and this is Cameron's first time sculling at Henley Royal Regatta, so it's a different experience. You know, as we keep saying, the big difference in that 6-lane event to this sort of, you know, we talk about it being gladiatorial and in the one crew against the other, but in single sculls, even more so. It really is just mano a mano in this sort of event. And as we've said before, these are the sort of boats that the speed can change so rapidly. And you know, dramatic things do happen. We've seen it already earlier on today.
And in years past, we've had some incredible comebacks in this particular boat class when, you know, because of the extended distance of the regatta course being 2,112 metres, it sometimes does swallow up athletes in these smaller boat classes because they're just not used to that extended distance over side-by-side racing.
And like we've said, you don't have clearly any cops, any crew mates to sort of motivate you at any point during that course. It's a long, and especially in headwind conditions, can feel like a slow race on your own in the single. So as much as this is a physical battle, this is also a huge mental battle coming down this course.
But when you kind of look back, when you kind of did the single back in, what was it, I don't want to get this.
Don't look so shocked.
Don't look at it.
It wasn't that many years ago, honest.
But, you know, going through that process of being in that boat, obviously, you've had so success in all boat classes, but to take that leap of faith and go in the single, what was that like?
Yeah, I'd sort of been encouraged by a lot of people. You should try it. You should try it once. You've got to do it at least once. And it always felt like, can you do the ultimate sort of challenge of just you against the world? So I did take it on. I hand on heart, always miss being with other people in a crew. I'm definitely a crew boat sculler first and foremost. But it is an immense challenge to take on. It is a huge privilege trying to do it on your own. And I mean, I've never enjoyed racing down the course like we're seeing right now, with George Bourne looking like he owns the regatta right now with that kind of lead, which is very comfortable in a single. But I did find it incredibly. It's a very different boat class from anything else, and I think there's a real pride in mastering it. Often we see athletes who stay in this. You know, a lot of other people move between boat classes quite a lot, whereas in the single, often if you establish yourself in it, you stay in it for a very long time. And we see real masters of the single scull. There's a real art to it that, like we said, is the real sort of mental, physical challenge. The other thing with these boats is, I mean, they're so fine and so narrow and so light. These are the kind of conditions they will get thrown around quite a lot in. So, although with this sort of lead, you can start to relax and start to try and control it, but there's always this feeling of, at any point, anything could happen or could go wrong. So, you know, they will be very sharp. They'll be staying on it individually, and, you know, if needed to, be able to find other gears.
And it's that also not letting it come too heavy. You know, you take it down too much, it gets really laboured and heavy, and then it just feels like dead weight, basically. So it's trying to keep it kind of tapping, keep it loose, keep it lively, just not make it too physical.
It's such a good point, because part of your head is going, just take it down a bit more, because it'll get a bit easier, you know, it'll get a bit lighter, we can save some energy for later. But actually, if you take too much off it, then, you know, you lose the momentum. You need to keep that boat feeling quite light and tapping along. And as we've said many times, you just never quite know what the opposition has. And if you suddenly get under pressure at the end of a regatta and you cannot respond fast enough because the boat has come too low in speed, then you can get caught out.
You can see George maintaining his lead over Cameron. But just keep an eye on him, just to keep him at bay. Doesn't want to get him back in, basically. But you can see the challenging conditions out there with the wind, and obviously there's other vessels on the water. And it's such, being a smaller boat, obviously gets moved around more by these conditions. It's even more challenging.
I quite like Cameron was talking about, apparently he took his rowing machine up Ben Nevis for a little workout on top of the mountain. So I'd be interested if he's finding a headwind down Henley Regatta course harder or Ben Nevis. I don't know which one or other do.
The question I got, did he carry it himself?
Oh, surely. Surely. I'd be disappointed if he didn't.
So George making his way towards the finish.
And lovely sculling techniques from both men now, not under too much pressure, just riding the waves and the wash coming down the course.
So that was a win for George of the Tarway Scullers School. Cameron, do you want to pronounce the surname again?
Buchan, I think we can practice with you.
I like that.
Buchan.
Buchan from Strathclyde Rowing Club in the Diamond Challenge Sculls.